Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today's topic that we're going to be describing, or that we're going to be discussing, is why I think language sucks. For today's fit check, we have Gao the Arsonist merch. Very great artist, very great creator. Beanie that I got from Zoomies. Necklace that my boyfriend made for me. I've already talked about the necklace, but I figured I would say it again. The jeans, I guess you can kind of see it in that corner over there from Levi. Yeah, disclaimer to begin with, my primary language is English, although some of these grievances can be attributed to, or can apply to other languages as well, not just English. The primary language that I speak is English, and so that's the main perspective that I'm coming from. To start off with, my number one goal when I speak language is to be understood, and that's pretty much the main thing that separates me from others, I guess. I mean, the main reason why a lot of other people speak or use language is to communicate an idea, communication mostly, and I guess it's the same for me as well. But like, the level of depth that I want my ideas to be understood is typically not received when I use language, or I'm just not satisfied with the level of depth that I normally get from it. This often leads people to describe me as very articulate, but it also makes me not want to speak to people because it just feels like too much work, or that they just won't get it if I try and speak in the first place. Yeah, first subsection we have here is connotations, denotations, and personal interpretations. The base definition of words and the implied meaning are often different, and they can sometimes change as well depending on society and time and place and context and other factors like that. Let's use an example here. A perfect example for this would be like the word hard. When I say hard, the first thing that would come to like a kindergartner's mind is like an adjective to describe the toughness of something. When you tell a kindergartner something is hard, it either means that it's a task that is difficult, or it's an object that is not very malleable. But in today's day and age, depending on who you speak to, like, that's the base definition of what hard is. Like, a lot of people understand that, but if you talk to like a teenager, this is gonna make me sound so old, but if you talk to a teenager or like somebody who's in their 20s, if you say hard, they might attribute that to like how good a fit looks, how good an outfit looks, instead of like just the toughness of a task or an object. The example sentence being like, that fit goes hard, or yeah, stuff like that. Although that's not a perfect example, it's the first one that came to my mind. And how and where people grow up can also impact how they use language. It means that people have slightly different interpretations of what a word may mean based off of where they grew up. It also means that people speak differently, which is another layer of interpretation, which I'll get into later. This means that I have to adjust to what they think certain words mean, or how they feel certain words mean, so that I can be properly understood, which means that I have to adjust my vocabulary based off of who I'm talking to. Obviously, it becomes easier to adjust my vocabulary the more I know someone, but I still find it very annoying to have to do in the first place, just because I would like to speak and just know that I am understood, instead of saying something and feeling that what I've said isn't being understood entirely. It's very troubling to like say something and then see in somebody's eyes that what you said wasn't taken the way that you wanted it to be taken. Yeah, an example of that is when somebody asks you, "Are you really gonna eat that off the floor?" The base meaning of that sentence is, "Are you really gonna eat that off the floor? Yes or no?" And without any societal context or interpretation further more than just the words that were said. It's neither a positive or negative phrase, it's just a phrase that's said to understand or to further clarify an action that you're performing. However, most of the time when that's said, the inflection that's used is meant to imply that what you're doing is negative, but it's just another layer of complication that doesn't need to be there when you could just say you shouldn't eat that off the floor. Yeah, it's something that I don't really vibe with, I guess. I sort of skipped an additional subtopic there when I was talking about that because, yeah, that additional subtopic was implied meanings. That would be the title of that subtopic. But yeah, implied meanings and hidden intentions behind phrases and words and sentences means that I have to interpret what this person truly means when they say things, based off of what they've said previously, their body language, their tone of voice, their inflection, and how they've acted using their actions previously. And it's just a lot of work when you could say exactly what you mean instead of just implying something. Yeah, it's a language barrier that I think a lot of people don't seem to understand exists. When you say you're hungry, even that typically has some sort of implication depending on the context. But a lot of the times, I'm going to go back to like the kindergarten example here. If you see a kindergartner say that they're hungry, that doesn't typically imply anything other than they are hungry and they want to eat something. But even then, like, the I want to eat something is another assumption that we typically make when the phrase I'm hungry comes out. But then in other contexts, when somebody says I'm hungry, that might imply that they want you specifically to do something about that, which is either get them food or make them food or buy them food in some fashion. And I find that very annoying. I would rather somebody come up to me and straight up tell me that they want me to buy them food than for them to say I'm hungry and then expect me to understand that they want to eat something because of their statement. Yeah. This also leads me into my... Well, this doesn't lead me into my next topic at all, actually. But my next subtopic is language limits. I find that language is very limiting as a whole, especially the English language. We use a lot of words to describe multiple things that sometimes aren't even in the same topic. Going back to my previous example of the word hard, society has shifted that word into something that's not necessarily about the toughness of an object or a task, and into an adjective that's somewhat positive, which also means that it takes on an additional connotation of being something that is positive in some contexts, whereas before it was almost solely negative in all contexts. Yeah, but language is very limiting. I find that when I'm trying to express my feelings, how I feel, it's hard for me to do so in a way that I feel like everything that I've felt is coming out. I find that whenever I do need to express myself, it's very hard to, because of the fact that, like, what I feel does not feel like it can be captured in 2 to 3 sentences, which makes me feel as if I need to use additional sentences to describe how I'm feeling, which is very annoying because of the fact that, like, whenever I feel something, if I'm asked to communicate it, or if I wish to communicate it, I would rather do so in a very quick fashion, because as human beings, we feel things and experience emotions a lot throughout the day, even if it's just something like boredom. That's something that people can consistently switch in and out of, depending on what's happening within the day. And that's just 2 dimensions. Whereas we could go through a lot more emotions within one day. So because of how fast people feel things, it's typically expected of you to express your emotions rather quickly. People don't really want to hear all of your exposition and explanation for how you're feeling on a given day, or what you feel when a certain event happens, even if it's not like a traumatic event or like a very serious thing. An example would be like, if somebody asks you how was breakfast, me personally, I don't often feel that just saying good or fine is enough to truly describe how I feel, but because society expects me to express that emotion rather quickly, I'm just supposed to say good or fine. This also it also makes me feel like it limits how it puts a limit on the ability to express appreciation for how complex things really are. Say I look at a tree over there. If I say that that tree is just beautiful or like attractive or whatever, it doesn't really tell you much about the tree because those words are very subjective. And I feel that to use language in a way that like truly helps you express how you feel, it's extremely difficult. And even when you can accomplish it, it's often not desired by society on a daily basis, which is often when I want to use language and how I want to use language. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching. There are a lot of videos on here. There are a lot of good videos on here, but you chose to watch mine anyway. Like if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Leave a comment and tell me why you disliked it. If there's a topic that you want me to get to and I haven't covered it already, put it in the comments and I'll make sure to get it into a video. Subscribe if you want to. Don't subscribe if you don't want to. I hope that you're having a good morning, evening, or afternoon, day or night, and if it's night, I hope you have good sleep. Today's question is going to be, what's your favorite species of tree? Good luck, survive.